Good morning. Good morning. Today we're going to talk. The title of our conversation is Now is the Time to. I'll tell you what that is in just a second. But first things first, I thought I'd introduce myself. My name is Andrea Oram. I am a music teacher for pre-K through 12th grade age students. And I love helping newer music teachers figure out one of those grade levels, figure out how classroom teaching looks for them. I also love helping teachers who are interested in either adding a side gig or wanting to move more full-time freelance, since that's what I did. I moved from the public sphere to the freelance, self-employed, work for yourself sphere, and it's been a blast. So if that is you and you are connecting in the new and freelance music teacher community space, welcome. Glad you're here. If you're not there, actually, there is a link in the description of this video for that group. So if you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, you can go check that out. But today we're going to talk about a topic that is sort of time sensitive. So if you are watching this in the future, you might want to take note of this. I'm talking to you live, at least, at the very end of March, very early April. And this is the season of the year when it's time to do some specific things. If you are interested in adding freelance top options as far as like a side gig, or if you're wanting to move more full-time in that direction. So let's talk about it. Now is the time to start thinking about that sort of stuff, okay? Now is the time to start thinking about either adding a side gig part of your palette, what you offer people, what you offer to how to serve people in the world, or to move in a more full-time direction this way. And here's why. At least in my area of the world, this is the point of the year where we're just around spring break time. And this is the time when lots of people who are not in the public school arena are thinking about what they're going to do for the fall. Okay. So a lot of discussions. This could be homeschool communities. This could be private lessons. This could be all sorts of things, right? Community education, lots of different spheres, right? But they're talking about fall schedule right now. And they're talking about who do we need to teach this subject? Who could be available to teach that subject? What is our actual schedule for the day that students are here going to look like? And so now's the time, if you are interested in those types of things, to be making connections, to be having conversations, to be looking at your own schedule and figuring out what does that look like for you, all right? For you, it might look like looking at finances and the budget first, because you've always dreamed of this idea, but you're like, I don't know if I can actually pull it off. I don't know if I can actually make it happen. And so if that's you, I actually put a free resource together. It's self-employed music teacher budgeting tips. It's stuff that I do every day that works really well for me. So you can go check that out. There's a link for it in the description of this video. So if that is like, yeah, I really need to look at that first. I know it's not like fun to look at that stuff, but it's really necessary for some people to see, can I even do this? If you want to move all the way, from public to freelance. And if you don't, if you just want to add a side gig, is that realistic? Is it good for you to do that? Chances are yes, but it can still be really useful to have some tips right off the bat, so you don't make mistakes that you could have just avoided, right? Because I totally did that. I didn't have anybody who had to show me, oh, here's how you move from teaching public school as an employee to working for yourself and being your own employer, right? To being self-employed. No, there was nobody ahead of me to tell me what they did, right? There are people who are business owners, right? And plenty of people can guide you in that way, but there was nobody who had ever done this specific thing and who was ahead of me to kind of show me, oh, here's how you do it in a music teaching way, or a music teacher or a teacher sphere way, right? And so I didn't know how to make that happen. So I did make a few mistakes along the way. And I've spent a few years making those mistakes, ironing them out, and making it really work for me. So yeah, that's why I put that resource together, because I really want to help people who might be interested in this, but just need to see some of the nitty-gritty details and figure out, is that going to work for me? And that's kind of how I did it when I started. I started with a basic, like, okay, is this XYZ thing's gonna work for me? And if not, then I don't think I'm gonna move in this direction quite yet. But I did enough looking and weighing on the scales of practicality, but also a lot of other things, and discovering that spring 2020 was my jumping launch pad moment. And most people were looking at me going, "You're crazy. Why are you doing that now?" But it was the biggest blessing in my life, and I'm so glad that I made the choices that I did. So now is the time to start thinking about those things if you are interested or seriously considering that direction. Okay. And if you're like, man, just have so many questions, that's what I'm here for, right? That's what the new and freelance music teacher community is for. You can ask questions in the group. As I have time, I can either pop in and answer in the comments or do another video to answer more specifically some of those questions you may have. And if it's something that would be just for your situation, that's a really good fit for some coaching or something like that. So I offer individualized coaching, so you can check that out on my website. But that would be a really great way to get individualized attention on your own situation, on your own, like eyeballs on your own world and how things could look for you, and get some wisdom from someone else who's done it already to figure out, okay, is that a good fit for me? Is that a good direction to move? All right. So if that's for you, awesome. If not, no big deal. That's not, you can just go check out the group or keep watching these awesome videos and learning along the way. All right. So be thinking about it now. Don't wait till June. Don't wait till June, because that's oftentimes, at least around here, May and June are when teachers are really, well, okay, April, May, June, but mostly May and June are when people are really starting to figure out where they're going to switch jobs if they're doing public school. And so that's a little too late to start looking at some of the things around here as far as freelance options. And of course, you can always fabricate things. If you're doing private lessons or something, you could always start any time of the year, right? But overall, end of March, early April is now the time to really be looking at that from a freelance, self-employed teacher perspective. So hope this was helpful. Can't wait to see you again tomorrow morning. Bye for now.